G'day, my name's Matt. This channel is called The Right Car, and the Hyundai Sonata N Line, that's the only version we get here, and it looks fantastic, and it is fantastic. I'm going to tell you about it in this review, a bunch of stuff that you probably didn't expect from a mid-size Korean sedan. Let's get to it. Like and subscribe. Let's go. There's only one spec of the Sonata available in Australia, which means it's an all or nothing proposition if you are looking at this particular sedan. But hey, if you don't have 55 grand to spend, there's also the i30 sedan, which is still pretty big and looks kind of similar. So if that's what you want, then maybe you should check it out. There's more models available in that lineup, but here it's just the N Line model, and doesn't it look amazing? It's had a completely rethought exterior design with this Robocop style seamless horizon lamp, they call it, that big horizontal lamp across the front end there. It's been redesigned at the front, redesigned at the back as well. So LED lighting all around, apart from the reversing lights, they're not LEDs for some reason. And on the inside, you've got a rethought interior as well, with a curved housing for twin 12.3-inch screens, a little touch screen for the climate controls as well. And you get a whole bunch of really good features, including leather and suede seats, heated and cooled front seats, and heated rear outboard seats as well. Panoramic roof, sat nav, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all the stuff you would expect if you're spending this kind of money on a car in 2023 and beyond. So it does come well equipped, but there are some really good alternatives to it. I'm going to tell you about them now. There are a few obvious alternatives to the Hyundai Sonata. The first one is the Toyota Camry. Look, there's no version of the Camry which is quite as sporty or dynamic or fun as the Hyundai Sonata, but there are a few versions available of the Camry, including mostly hybrid models. And if hybrid is what you are after, this car can't satisfy your desires. So I would say that a hybrid Camry is going to be a really good family car if you don't necessarily need excitement in your life, but you just need a really big family sedan. So check it out if you want to, but hey, I reckon you should also be looking at the BYD Seal. Now, it's fully electric, so if you're ready to do the jump from petrol to electric, then it could be a really good option for you. The Seal starts at less than $50,000 before on-road costs, with 460 Ks of range, and hey, if you're belting this thing, you might only get 400 Ks out of a tank anyway. And there's a couple of other versions of the Seal available, including a top-spec all-wheel drive, which, yes, it's about 15 grand more than this, but it does 0 to 100 in 3.8 seconds, which is a lot faster than this. So if you really want a really fast sedan, a BYD Seal performance model could be a really good option for you. And finally, how about something from Europe? Let's talk about the Skoda Octavia. It's available as a sedan or liftback and a wagon. There's a performance-focused version or a more normal version if that's what you need. And it really does stack up in terms of what it offers, the space it offers, and the price that it comes in at. It's pretty affordable, in fact. Tell me which you would pick in the comments section below. If you didn't know this was a facelift, you would think it's an all-new model because it's a dramatic change from the last model. Here's a picture of it to give you an idea of what it looked like. And now the Robocop version, which I really love. It's got this amazing stance to it. It's got long side skirts as well. It's 4.9 meters, so it's a pretty big vehicle. And I'll show you what it's like in terms of backseat space in a sec. I also really like the new rear end design. It's got a H light signature as well, which I'm a big fan of. And I also like this text down the bottom here on the tailgate. Looks great, don't you think? All right, let's check out the boot and see if it's big enough. So, an electric tailgate on a sedan. It might seem like overkill, but it is pretty handy, I reckon. And I also like the fact that it might have these big hinges, but they don't eat into the space because it's all shielded off in the boot area. Now, speaking of boot space, you'll see the figure on your screen now for how much capacity this vehicle has. And just like some of the other big sedans in this segment, it's basically designed so you can fit golf clubs in the back. So rest assured, you'll be able to fit your luggage and probably your whole family's luggage in the back here. And it's also good to see that there is a space saver spare wheel underneath the boot floor as well. So, yep, it seems like a fairly practical option. I just wish they came in a wagon. It does feel very different on the inside of this updated Sonata because they've paid a lot of attention to the interior design and the way that it feels on the inside. And a lot of that comes down to this big array of screens. So you've got a 12.3-inch multimedia screen for your infotainment and that sort of stuff, sat nav, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all that is through this big screen here. And then you've also got another screen in front of the driver, which is also a 12.3-inch digital screen, and it's got digital speedo, and you can adjust some elements to the trip computer and your view and that sort of stuff through this screen here. It looks great. It looks so much more upmarket and modern than the existing version of the Sonata. But one thing I'm not so sold on is the change to these touch controls down below. So your climate control settings now are through this little screen here. It's a 6.6-inch screen apparently, and it's got your buttons for your fan control and that sort of stuff is down here, and air conditioning. It's a bit hard to see in direct light, and also fingerprints. I hate fingerprints because they make a mess, and look, you get that on the screen obviously, but at least it's a bit lighter. Here it's dark and they show up a lot, and you've also got dials for the climate control, thankfully, but look, you might be the sort of person who just leaves their car on auto and that's that, so that might not be a big deal for you. I do like that you do get a volume knob and some buttons above for the infotainment system, which is good to see. And there's all the stuff that you would expect when it comes to the features in here. You've got a wireless phone charger, a couple of USB-C ports. You've got a storage section here where you probably put your phone or something like that. You've also got a couple of cup holders between the seats, a nice little handrest here. And you'll notice that there's no gear selector in the middle, which is a bit weird, but it's over here on the steering column, and it's a shift-by-wire system, so it doesn't need to be there anymore. It can just shift and away you go. So you twist it forwards to go forwards, backwards to go backwards. Seems to make sense until you try it and then you make a mistake and then you realize that you've made a mistake, but you'll only do it a few times when you park, trust me. And there's also a covered center console bin here. You've got bottle holders in the doors. Love the seats. They are sports seats with leather and suede. They feel fantastic. I love the fact that you've got heating and cooling for the front seats as well. On days like today where it's a bit warm outside, that is a welcome addition. There's also back seat heating in the outboard seats. So let's get back there and see what the space is like. It is a big car and there's a big amount of space in the second row here. This seat is set for me at 182 centimeters or 6 foot. I've got lots of knee room, pretty decent foot room as well. Headroom is maybe going to be a little bit tight if you are taller because of the panoramic sunroof. But honestly, I think if you just lounge back and enjoy the ride, you should be fine back here. Now, there are some nice elements to the cabin to help you enjoy the ride. You've got directional air vents. There's a couple of USB-C ports down here as well. Map pockets on the seat backs. I like the fact that they've got the, I guess, protective coating on the seat backs, you might say, to stop little kids from kicking away. I know my little girl has come to enjoy kicking the seat backs a little bit. She might not even be able to reach in this car. It's that big, but there are ISOFIX points, and they're in the window seats, and 3 top tether points as well. So if you do have youngsters, they should be well accommodated back here. And also you could fit 3 adults across the back here pretty comfortably. There's not too much of a transmission tunnel intrusion. So there's just a little hump in the floor there, but honestly, there'd be enough leg room for 3 adults to sit across, as long as they're not massive. Now, you've also got a fold down armrest with cup holders here. And I love the fact that you do get rear shades, which is just a really nice feature, not just for kids, but for adults as well. There's lights in the back as well, so you can read at night if you want to. It's just a really comfortable, pleasant, and spacious space. So it's a carryover engine for this updated version of the Sonata N Line. That's no problem if you ask me, because it's a 2.5 litre turbocharged petrol 4-cylinder. You'll see the outputs on your screen now. It is a punchy thing. Just keep in mind that it's got an 8-speed dual clutch automatic transmission, and it's also front wheel drive only. So getting all that grunt to the ground at times can be troublesome, but otherwise I think this really stacks up. Well, compared to something like a Camry, for instance, you're getting a fair bit of grunt here. I mean, obviously there are EVs out there with heaps of grunt these days, but hey, petrol's good, I reckon. What do you think? Let me know in the comments section. And it's also got launch control as well, so you can really enjoy this car and really enjoy this engine. Let's go for a drive and I'll show you. Oh, that beeping, beeping. Okay, so now it's beeped to tell me that it's a 100k zone, even though I'm in a driveway. Yeah, the beeping technology for the speed sign recognition system is really annoying in this car. It could be enough for you to reconsider. It would make me reconsider because it's just really frustrating to live with. Shut up. Shut up. Turn off the lane keeping assist by holding down the button on the steering wheel. At least it's quick and easy to turn off, unlike the annoying speed sign recognition system. Straight off the bat, a thing that might not be ideal for everyone is the seating position in this car. Look, it's quite high up, and I mean, I would like to sit just a little bit lower if possible, but at the moment I'm at the lowest position possible in this car, and I just feel like I'm sitting on a stool a little bit. So let's talk about the drive experience in the Sonata N Line. It isn't dramatically different to the last version, but that's no bad thing. So it does still have the perky 2.5 litre turbo-petrol engine, which is definitely grunty enough for pretty much anyone's needs. Look, it does have some pretty smart tech when it comes to the engine. So you've got a launch control system if you want to use it. Yeah, find a quiet road and blast to your heart's content, but it does have really good roll-on acceleration, this car. So I'm just cruising along at about 60 now, so I'll just put my foot down and there, we're at 100. So yeah, it's quick. It's actually quicker than you probably expect it's going to be. And for people who just want effortless performance, this car will meet that need. So it's just because it's got a really good 2.5 litre engine, but also paired to a clever 8-speed dual clutch automatic transmission. It's a wet clutch, so it doesn't have quite as jerky an action as the 7-speed dual clutch, which is also available in some Hyundai products. In this product, it is very good. It's very smooth, and it also isn't annoying at lower speeds, like when you're trying to park or, you know, reverse parallel park or something like that. Although using the little gear selector might be just a little bit annoying to get used to, at least. For instance, no, I'm in neutral. Okay, back to drive, and off we go. I'd also say that the good attributes of the previous version of the Sonata have been carried over. So it does still have nice, accurate, and nicely weighted steering. And the suspension, look, some elements of the underbody of this car have been adjusted for this updated version, and it does have a slightly different feel to it. Although I think that for someone who knows that they're buying an N Line and expects, well, a firmer ride, it's not going to be too big of an issue. But yeah, you can feel bumps at times, and some of the roads that we've been driving on this launch program have been, well, unrelentingly bumpy, but I've found that it is pretty comfortable and pretty well sorted for country road touring and, you know, the urban jungle as well as freeway stuff. It's going to do the job comfortably enough for you and your family. Look, it doesn't have as sharp a ride as some other really sporty sedans that maybe cost twice as much, and I think that's a good thing. There are different drive modes to choose from as well, as you would expect. And look, I reckon that it's just a really well-rounded, comfortable and enjoyable big vehicle. So if you know you don't want an SUV and you're willing to consider buying a sedan, you want something that's a bit sporty, it could be a really good choice for you. One other thing that this car has that I really like is the blind spot view camera system. So it uses the cameras underneath the mirrors to basically give you a view of what's behind you, what could be in your blind spot. Like, the visibility from the driver's seat in this car is pretty good, but you get a little feed that shows up in the driver info screen and shows you a live camera view of what's there on either side when you indicate. It's really good technology. And the surround view camera system, well, that makes parking this 4.9 meter long sedan easier than it would have otherwise been. Okay, let's talk about efficiency. So the official combined cycle fuel consumption figure is on your screen now. That number is the same as the pre-update version of this car. So it's no change. There are some slight differences in between the urban or highway figures I don't usually bother telling you those because, hey, it's the combined figure that matters most. So that number, yeah, seems to be pretty decent. And look, on this test across a bunch of country roads, not too much stop-start traffic stuff, I've seen the figure that you'll see on your screen now, and I reckon that is pretty good for a big petrol-powered turbocharged sporty sedan. Yeah. Strangely, there is no NCAP safety rating or Euro NCAP safety rating for the current generation Hyundai Sonata, but it does come with a bunch of standard safety technology and equipment fitted across, well, the range, which is just this car in Australia. So it includes autonomous emergency braking with pedestrian, cyclist, junction and motorcyclist detection, which is new for this updated version. There's lane keeping assistance, there's blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, a speed sign recognition system, which is very bloody annoying. You have to turn off the system every time you drive it if you don't want to hear it binging and bonging at you every time you pass a different speed sign. I recommend doing that. And it's also got a surround view camera, front and rear parking sensors, and 6 airbags fitted as well. So look, rest assured, even if it doesn't have a safety rating, it's going to be a pretty safe car to live with. Hyundai offers a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty in Australia, and there's cap price servicing for life for this car as well. Now, the first 5 services are $350 per visit, but just keep in mind that the servicing intervals are every 12 months or 10,000 kilometres, which is a bit more regular than some other cars out there. But if you do service your car with Hyundai, you get up to 10 years of roadside assistance included. So that is a pretty nice deal sweetener if you ask me. There's also a 5-year subscription to Hyundai's connected services platform. So that means that you'll be able to keep an eye on your car from an app on your phone. It'll also call emergency service if you're involved in a crash, and it has smart route guidance as well for the sat nav. So it'll tell you if there's a better way to go with less traffic, which is really nice technology. So there's a few really good things when it comes to the ownership of this car. I have to say, I'm not a sedan person, but this is a very convincing sedan. I really love the look of it. I love the space. The technology is mostly very good, although that speed sign recognition system could be a deal breaker for some buyers. I know I'd get sick of it if I was living with this car, but would it stop you from buying one? I'd love to know what you think. Please do let me know in the comments section if you like this car, and if there's any other mid-sized vehicles or sedans or wagons that you'd like me to test, because I'm getting sick of SUVs. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.